This is take three. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dirty Martini. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having an amazing day. This is take three. I give up. I change the frames per second that the camera is capturing. I try to restart and stop the connection. I don't know what to do. One day I'm going to buy proper equipment for podcast recording. That day is not today, but one day that is going to happen. And if you're an OG and you're enduring the lagging camera, or even from way back when I was recording audio from my phone and the sound of it was atrocious, I will cherish you forever and I will put you on my wall of fame of people who have endured my yapping. But until that happens, hello. I feel I've actually don't know. I've for the past few weeks, I haven't really known how to start the episodes because for me, getting right into it is the way to go. But I feel like we need to ease into it, and that just so does not feel normal to me because I feel like our interactions are like ones of best friends, like a best friends group chat where you don't go every morning and write good morning, how was your day, how are you doing, and you don't say good night. It's just a continuous conversation with no period, no comma, no end, no beginning. It just is. And I find this very beautiful, but I feel like considering that every episode has to start somewhere, I just don't know how to start it because I've never been one who's into small talk. And that's actually the thing. Wait, excuse me. I need to drink water because I feel like I'm going to choke on air and die on air. No pun intended, pun fully intended. Jesus Christ, today is just one of those days. I just it's one of those days. I don't know how to explain it. I've barely communicated in Bulgarian, let alone in English, so it's going to be an interesting one. So put on your seatbelts and get ready. But yeah, I've never been one who's really keen on small talk. And even when I see my friends, I'm like, hey, how are you? Okay, good. So let's just get straight into it and let me tell you all the traumatic things that happen and how I analyze them. And I want to share the outcome with you and what the lesson is. So, because this is how I approach my day to day conversations, I feel so awkward every time I start the podcast. And now I'm sweating profusely because it's like 100 degrees. I feel like I'm in a kiln, like I'm in an oven. Like, I was going to say shout out to Sylvia Plath, but that was going to be very insensitive, yet I still said it. But I respect and love her. And, like, honestly, I've never felt more seen. But like I've just closed all the like the windows so that you cannot hear the dogs, so that you cannot hear the moaning, not moaning, mowing that my dad's doing to the yard. And the things I do for this podcast, Jesus Christ, and I smell like a dog. It's just the perfect way to start a podcast. Um and I want to address something. I feel like uh on camera maybe this doesn't look very vibrant, and maybe from afar if you squint maybe I look naked. Now, I know that according to color theory, and like I've never done a color analysis, but I can tell that this is not, why is the camera not focusing? Jesus Christ, something's out to get me, I swear. Please tell me that now it's better because I'm genuinely tweaking. No, it's not better. Like, it's focused better, but it's still lagging. Well, sometimes in life, you just gotta pull through. Um, so I've never done a color analysis on myself, but I can tell that this is a top that's not particularly flattening with my palest cheese skin tone. But the thing is, I really don't care because I love this top. It used to be my best friend's and then she gave it to me and it reminds me of her. So I love this top and I'm never going to stop wearing it. And maybe it's going to look better once I tan, but today I tried to go outside and tan and I could only bear it for 20 minutes. I've never been one who tans a lot, not solely because of the fact that the second the like touches my skin, I turn into Larry the Lobster. But I just can I there's something that's not very appealing to me to just sit in the sun and sweat and just not move and wait for the sun damage that we're all seeking because it makes us look more sun kissed. Um, so I tried to do that while reading a little bit of the second book from the Fourth Wing series. I've only read like that's embarrassing. Like today, I've only read like 70 pages and I've not done anything. So I couldn't like sit in the sun because I was just genuinely going to lose my mind and it was going to sweat out of my pores. So I got inside, and I don't know if I'm going to have a skin tan this year. And I feel like I'm okay with this. But I've not done anything productive today, which is why I decided to press record. Because today I actually slept for 9.5 hours, almost uninterrupted. And I'm so incredibly happy. I did not set an alarm. I was like, whatever my body needs, I'm going to give it. And if my body needs to like make up for some lost sleep over the past few months, then I'm going to give it. But the thing is, I'm so used to being underslept to the point that now, having slept well, I feel more exhausted and I realize how exhausted I am. And also, I feel like I wasted my entire day. Well, I don't feel I wasted my entire day because I woke up at almost 11. Um, and the thing is, for me, the perfect wake up time is between 8 and 9 because I feel like that gives you a sufficient amount of time to rest if you don't go to bed at 3 like I do. But it gives you sufficient amount of time to rest, but also you're into the day already, but not too late, so you've not wasted your entire day. But waking up almost at 11 really makes you feel like you've wasted your entire day because a third of it is already gone. Well, like theoretically, like almost half of it, but like from your awake time, like a third of it is already gone. I'm actually doing this math purely out based on vibes. I don't know what I'm basing this one third off, but let's just assume it's true because it's said by a podcaster on the internet, so it must be true. And I just felt like I was hit by a truck. And then I spent the first 1 hour just watching The King of Queens, which is my current series that I'm obsessing over. And I'm nearly done with it. I have no, 2 seasons left, 2 seasons and 2 episodes left. And I'm not ready to let that one go because I didn't know of the existence of this sitcom. And if there is something you should know about me, it's the fact that I love my sitcoms and I love my 90s sitcoms, which is quite ironic considering that if you've ever been here before, you might notice that I tend to be quite um progressive and I tend to be quite analytical and critical of the media I consume. And there's quite a lot of things to be criticized about the media from back in the day, but there's just something about the King of Queens that's so appealing to me and it feels like so cozy. And I don't know how I didn't know about the existence of this series. And I'm really, really obsessed, and it's so easy going for me and I'm loving it. So I spent an hour watching that. Then I spent probably over an hour, hour and a half, just reading this TikTok comment section of this one TikTok where this lady was like, teachers, please share the most crazy things that your students have said and like bonus points if it's a paranormal thing. And the things that those people shared, I feel like they're out of a Stephen King novel. I've never read a Stephen King novel. I've actually watched a movie based off of a Stephen King novel, like The Running Man. I don't recall watching another one. I've not seen it because I'm terrified of scary movies because that's what they're there for, to be terrified of them, and I don't like to be scared. So I spent an hour, hour and a half doing that, and then I just felt like a complete piece of shit because I did not do anything. I didn't go out. Well, I mean, like I went out in my yard, but I've not been anywhere. But it's okay because I was like, you know what, let me turn on the light. Because I was like, oh, I'm just going to go out tonight with my friends. And actually, I'm not, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch Shrek with my sister and my, I want to say niece, but she's not my niece because she's my cousin's daughter. Um, Whatever the connection there is. And I'm very, very excited because she has, not my sister, my cousin's daughter, has not seen Shrek, which to me it's crazy because like Shrek is so incredibly iconic. And the fact that there are people who have not seen Shrek, and like I'm looking at my housemate right now because she confessed like a month and a half ago that she just watched Shrek for the first time. Guys, like that is the movie. I love the Shrek franchise, which is why it pains me so deeply to see what the new Shrek is going to look like. Because I've seen snippets and I thought that's why they pushed back production by 2 years, because they were going to fix what Shrek was going to look like, and especially Donkey. Because they received a lot of backlash on the way the animation and the cartoon characters looked. And um, I am, while I'm looking forward to the new Shrek, I'm not really like, what did you do to my guy? Because Shrek for me is not a hear me out. Shrek for me is a hold me back. And seeing what they did to him, it's it's a hate crime. It's genuinely a hate crime, and I don't know how I can deal with this because like that's my man. That's my boo. Thank you to my man. And seeing what Donkey looks like. Honestly, all of the characters on Shrek are on my hear me out cake. Most of them are on my hold me back cake alongside Flynn Rider. Cause like, ah, Flynn Rider, the man that you are. Um but I'm very, very excited to watch Shrek. And we will have to watch Shrek in Bulgarian because she's obviously a child and she doesn't speak English yet. Um, Not that she has to speak English, but I just assume that nowadays, with this proliferation of the English language and this internationalization on a global scale, there's going to be more emphasis on students learning English than before. So that's why I said yet. I'm not saying that everyone should speak English. Okay, okay. Um, but and I've not seen a dubbed movie in such a long time, which is like for me, like obviously when I first watched Shrek, I watched it in Bulgarian because I didn't speak English yet. But ever since I learned English, I've solely watched movies in English, including Shrek. When I rewatched the movies from my childhood, I rewatched them in English because most of them are produced in English in the first place. And now it's just going to be very interesting because, like, I do not remember what Shrek sounds like in Bulgarian, and I'm so used to the voice of the characters. And Cameron Diaz, I love you so much, and I'm so happy she's back into acting because for me, Cameron Diaz movies are my childhood. And yeah, I was just so excited when she came back to acting with Jamie Foxx in that one spy movie that I don't remember the name of. But, anyways, so I'm really, really excited to do that because it's going to make me feel like I didn't completely waste my day. Because I tried, I swear, I tried so hard to get myself to read today. But it's just one of those days that it's like, I cannot function. But the good thing is that yesterday was not one of those days because yesterday, well, two monumental things happened. First and foremost, I held the first baby in my life. I've never hold that past tense, like third form. Um, a baby before because I am terrified of babies. I am terrified of small children. They're so fragile, and I'm like, you're supposed to hold the head so that because they cannot keep it straight, but there's like an opening on their skull still, and like they just are there and don't know what to do, and the only thing they do is cry, sleep, and poop and eat. And I just don't know how to deal with that, which is ironic considering that puppies are the exact same. But like with puppies, I feel way more comfortable. Maybe it's because I have more experience. I don't know. Um, but yesterday, I held the first baby in my life and I was terrified, and people were laughing at me so hard, but I did it. I am still very much terrified, and I don't know if I would be down to do it again, but I did it. And it's a monumental thing that's been captured by a picture in which I look like I'm being held hostage. And I swear babies can smell fear. I'm just convinced. I am convinced that he wasn't like he's a chill guy, don't get me wrong. Like he's a super cute baby. Like he's very like like a cool guy, chill guy. But I could swear he could sense my fear. And there's that. But another reason why yesterday was such a monumental day for me personally was because after um a little bit before sunset, so like when it's starting to cool down, because like guys, it's been scorching, and I'm trying not to complain because I know that when I go back to the Netherlands, I'm going to miss the sun so incredibly much, and I'm going to miss the heat. I'm actually going to miss the heat because, like, I, while I complain about sweating so much and while I use up so much deodorant, I literally have 3 bottles of deodorant right now. And I feel like a lot of people should take notes as I say this. Um, I love the heat. I just thrive in the summer. The days are long. I have to shave my legs. Well, I don't have to, but like my internalized misogyny is making me shave my legs. But I'd rather do that and just like wear loose clothing and just be out and about, and I feel so alive and so young. Uh but in moments like these, I have to wait because I need so yeah, anyways, back to my original thing of why it was a monumental day. So when it started to cool down in the evening, I went to the local stadium. And the thing is, where I live in the Netherlands, we also have a stadium. We have a football club and yada yada. But that stadium is not open for the public to use. Whereas the local stadium that we have in Bulgaria is open for the public to use. And I grew up around there, considering that I was a gymnast and they're literally in the same spot. And around the football field, you have a track. And people can just go up there and run. And I love this because I feel like public spaces should be open to the public. And that's what really pains me about running in the Netherlands, because running in the Netherlands, I cannot do on a dedicated track. I have to do out on the street, in the cobblestone, in the rain. And sure, like now here the stadium is also open, but like the the cover of the track is so much more forgiving, and it's so much more easy on your joints. And I love that. So, yes, I went running. And I know you're probably like, okay, so what? Well, guys, I have had really severe issues with my knee. I know I've been mentioning it on and off in the podcast, and I started mentioning it the first time in winter because this is when they started showing up. And there were times when I could not walk. I genuinely could not walk, let alone run, let alone bike, let alone drive a car. And it was really, really painful. And there was a lot of back and forth with me having to come back to Bulgaria to go to the doctors to get MRIs to try and figure out what the problem is. Because when I went to the doctor in the Netherlands, they didn't really care. And I was like, this pain's been persistent for months. And they were just like, take paracetamol. And I was like, honey, painkillers are not going to do for pain that's been uh, present for months. I want to know what's happening in my body. I am in my 20s and I shouldn't be able to tell what the weather is going to be like simply because my knee hurts. My joints shouldn't be weather forecasters yet, okay? And they didn't care about that. So I had to come to Bulgaria, and I'm really, really happy that I got a diagnosis. I got everything checked out, and I got everything checked out quickly because for the sole um getting an appointment in the Netherlands to get to a GP, because you cannot go to a specialist, you need to be referred to a specialist first. I had to wait 2 weeks to get an appointment for a GP. Whereas here, I know, if there's Bulgarians watching, I know all of us have at a certain point been annoyed by our healthcare system. And I know that it's not working ideally, but it works. And you can actually get appointments. And yes, sometimes it is expensive. A lot of it is covered by your health insurance, though. And while there are doctors that perhaps you haven't had great experiences with, there's a lot of doctors who actually care about their patients here, and this is why I'm so happy I got the chance to check everything out in Bulgaria, because here I wasn't treated like another one. I was treated like a proper patient where everything was paid attention to. And they were like, I don't care that you're young. If this hurts, we're taking it seriously and we're getting down to the bottom of this, because we cannot let this happen. And we need to cure this at its root rather than solely mask the pain. So I'm extremely, extremely thankful to my doctors here for giving me the clarity and giving me the peace of mind and explaining what actually is happening in my body, because there was genuinely a period of time this year where I felt like I would never be able to practice sport again, and let alone run. And I was very, very distraught by that, because sport is something I've been doing my entire life. I don't remember what life was like before I started practicing gymnastics competitively. I practiced gymnastics way for a very long time, very long time, way into my late teenage years. And then for medical reasons, I had to stop because of back pain. And after I stopped, then COVID hit and gyms were closed and gymnastic halls were closed. So I just started practicing sport at home. I got weights, I got yoga mats, I was doing body weight workouts. Chloe think we've all been there. We've all suffered through that get abs in 2 weeks challenge. We've all been there, okay? And I've had my ups and downs with sport a lot. And I really, really love sport. And the thought of never being able to squat pain free again, the thought of never being able to run again, the thought of never being able to jump again, ride a bike or doing something this early into, hopefully early into my life, was terrifying to me. And I cannot explain to you how many days I spent crying because I thought I would never recover. And I've not recovered fully. Don't get me wrong. I've not recovered. And there have been times where I've been like, you know what, I feel well. And then I go for a run. And the thing is, I'm a person who doesn't like, I'm trying very, very hard to listen to my body. But there are times when I've really ignored what my body has wanted. And I'm not talking solely about sleep, which is something I talk about here quite often, but movement. Like, there's a difference between pushing yourself to your limits for the sake of becoming stronger and abusing your body and not knowing when to stop, when your body's telling you stop or I'll make you stop. And I guess this knee situation that I have um, really brought this up to the forefront of my mind and really made me respect my body and made me realize that just because I'm young does not mean I'm guaranteed health. And while recovery for young people tends to happen faster and at a better rate, it's still not guaranteed. And if I don't take care of my body will take care of me. If I don't respect my body's need to stop, my body is going to stop by itself. It's going to demand that rest until it gets it one way or another. And it's something I'm still struggling to understand because I feel like my entire life, like if I hurt myself, I recover quickly. Um, and I'm still struggling so hard to understand it, but I've started to respect it more and more now because I've seen that if, let's say, one day I feel painless and I go for a run, and instead of going for, let's say, 3 kilometers slow pace or 5 kilometers, I just go 10 kilometers and I run to the limit of my abilities. And then the day after, I actually cannot walk and I have to have a knee brace and I have to be on painkillers and I have to ice it. That's it's been difficult to learn to respect my body in that regard. And it's been difficult to give myself rest, especially when my relationship with sport is quite complicated because during COVID I became so obsessed with working out because like it was also a transitioning period of for me after gymnastics that I feel like my relationship with sport wasn't necessarily healthy, and I didn't practice sport for the sake of being healthy, for the sake of working out, for the sake of enjoyment. A lot of the times I practice it out of habit and as a form of punishment. And that was something I really, really struggled with because it made me hate working out. And I was like, if you don't work out every single day for a minimum of 45 minutes and like very, very harshly work out, and if you don't do that 5 days in a row, perhaps 6 days in a row, you're a failure. And I would feel like a complete piece of crap because I just didn't feel like I was doing enough. And it took such a long time to rectify my relationship with sport because it got so bad at a certain point that um let's say I was traveling back from the Netherlands and I've had one of the terrible travels that I tell you about all the time. And I've traveled for 18 hours and I've not slept, I've not eaten, I'm exhausted, I just need to go to bed. I would not do that until I did an hour of cardio. And that's when I realized I have an issue that I really need to work on. Um, because I was punishing myself. I was not enjoying it. And um, I really was following those YouTube uh, pre-made programs by fitness influencers that were just not tailored to my needs and my uh, expectations and my goals, but I would stick to them. And I would not allow myself to change anything because I was like, this is what this fitness influencer said I should do. And if they're saying it, that's what I should do. And there's no room for adjustments or no room for personalization. And um, actually, I had to take like not working out for a day was on a day when I'm supposed to be working out, felt like I was betraying myself. And then I really, really, really worked intensely for 2 years to rectify my relationship with sport. And I'm really happy to say that I've done this. And um, now, when my body needs rest, I give it the rest it needs. And I'm like, yes, missing one workout is actually not going to change your life. Because there, I was like this concept was shoved down my throat of the only bad workout is the missed workout. And I feel like I decontextualized it, and like I took it to a place where it was not supposed to be taken. And once I fixed my relationship with sport, I was like, you know what? If all I have energy to do today is a 10-minute arm workout, then so be it. I'm busy. I have other stuff to do. And this is not me saying that sport is not something that should be prioritized. Actually, I think it's like crucial to practice sport as long as your body allows it, to the extent that your body allows it. Um, but it's very important to practice sport mindfully and to remember that you have agency in this practice of sport, to remember that you should have desire that goes beyond a certain weight. Because once I switched from my focus from I'm practicing sport to be this weight and to have that many abs, to I'm practicing sport because it's actually enjoyable. And is enjoyable a word? It's enjoyable. Enjoyable. It's enjoyable, and I feel strong and I feel powerful and I feel empowered. That's when I started loving sport again. Um, and I stopped practicing it as a form of punishment, but I started practicing it out of self love. And it wasn't a linear path, and there are days when I relapse. Um, but the good days definitely outnumber the bad ones. And now, for example, if let's say I'm on my period and I'm in so much pain, I'll actually listen to my body and give it the rest it needs instead of going out and running for an hour, or practicing very harsh, heavy weighted workouts. Because if that's what my body needs, that's what I should give it. Because, like I mentioned before, if I don't give it, it's going to take it forcefully. And my body and I should live in symbiosis. It shouldn't be me versus my body. We're together in this. And once I learned to respect my body, that's when the game fully changed. And I'm so incredibly happy to say that yesterday I went to the local stadium and I started running, and I ran for the first time in over a month. And for the first time in I don't know how many months, I ran without a knee brace. And I ran pain free. And the thing is, I feel like to a certain extent, I did really play with fire yesterday, because initially I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to run 5 kilometers because I've not run in a long time and I shouldn't really, like, it's still hot. Uh it's just I shouldn't really push myself over the edge, especially knowing that having pushed myself over the edge the last few months has really caused me pain the day after in my knee. Um, and after the fifth kilometer, I still felt very high energy and I felt able, which is why I continued running. And I ended up running 10 kilometers. And I ended up running for an hour without stopping for a second. And I felt I did all of this pain free. And today, I don't feel pain. I mean, there's a little bit of tension, but I feel like that's more muscle soreness than anything else, because I feel it in both legs in the same place. So I really don't think it's much to do with the thing I have in my knee, although who knows. Um, but I feel so incredibly proud. I feel so incredibly proud because the last few months when I've been running and there's been pain, there have been times where I've pushed myself, but most of the times I've thankfully led with the mentality of it's not worth it to run today if it means never running for the rest of your life. And Now I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe it's also the weather and the climate here with like less humidity and the warmth and my joints not hurting as much. And I know this makes me sound like I'm 80 years old, but I am at that stage of my life. Like, they do say that girls develop faster. They didn't specify how though. And I was so joyous afterwards. And the thing is, after I run, I feel so like I feel a runner's high. I feel so euphoric and I feel so full of energy and this tiredness, this exhaustion, this physical exhaustion that I feel is so energizing because I'm like, yes, I earned that and I've been looking forward to this. And in the Netherlands, because I run out on the street, I cannot do the things that I want to do, which when I'm euphoric, I just want to start doing flips and cartwheels and just like some gymnastic stuff from back in the day because I'm like, yes, I want to channel this energy into this thing that brings me so much joy. And yesterday, being in the stadium with this cover that the stadium has, I could do it. And I felt so incredibly happy and so incredibly jubilant. And I felt so proud of myself for allowing my body to rest in that regard for the past few months and not pushing it over the edge and respecting it. And maybe I did push it over the edge yesterday. And what I'm saying now is like paradoxical and counter argumentative, but like I felt so happy I could cry because I really thought that I would not be able to do, and like, sure, what long constitutes is subjective, but like for me, considering that the longest I've run is a half marathon, um, 10K feels like a long distance. Although I feel like now, because a lot of people were running and running is becoming more and more popular, which is amazing. But because a lot of people were running, it feels like the distances that we run are not necessarily achievements because 5K now feels like something that's like only five, when in reality, running 5K is a big achievement. And we should not undermine it just because people were out there doing ultra marathons and like Ironmans. Those are amazing achievements as well. But we should look at this 5K as an achievement as well. And actually running 10 kilometers without stopping for a second is something that's quite impressive. And I hate that at times I feel like those are so unimpressive things because I compare myself to others, but comparison is the biggest thief of joy, as we already know. Um, but which is why in my Strava, it's a locked account and I only have allowed people who I know genuinely support me and who I genuinely support and I'm not envious of and are not going to be envious of me. And I've just nurtured this um I would say rather healthy small community that we have on there without the pressure of having to outrun someone or compare myself to someone because we're all friends there. And this app that was built for comparison in a sense. Oh my god, my cousin's daughter just came in. Wait, let me tell her that I'm recording the podcast and she should give me like 20 minutes. Oh my god, I'm already recording for 40 minutes. That's crazy. And I've gotten nowhere to what I wanted to say today. Anyways, okay, that also gave me the chance to adjust the light. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm so proud of my body and I'm so happy that it's given me the privilege to move again. Um, and I feel like what happened with my knee was necessary to happen for me to stop taking my health for granted. Because my health and my ability to move and my ability to practice sport is a privilege and it's not a given. And I should not treat it as such. Because just because I was healthy once doesn't mean I'm going to be healthy forever. And I really need to take care of my health because if I don't take care of my health, it might be in jeopardy. Um, but yeah, I'm just very, very happy. I don't know, like that was not a rant I planned on going into, but I really, really am happy that I did because like I'm really like I know it feels so trivial, but like in moments when you feel like wow, I perhaps have done my last run and I didn't know it was my last run, and then to have the chance to run again. And sure, not at the pace that you used to be able to, but just to have the opportunity to move again and feel the wind again and run listening to Olivia Rodrigo again. It's been really nice. It was really, really nice. And I'm really glad that I got the chance to do that. Um, but yeah. Um, oh my god, I just saw that the camera was off. How long was the camera off for? Which like interestingly is the perfect way for me to segue into what I wanted to mention today initially. Why is it lagging? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Um, basically, guys, last week, um, so I have a laptop. I like I've mentioned multiple times before, I connect through a USB cable my microphone to the laptop and it directly transmits the audio there, and I connect through Bluetooth my phone, which I use as the video recording device, aka the camera, and it directly records on my laptop. But my laptop, beyond its a very crucial aspect and role in my podcast creation, is also the place, well, the device, not a place, that I use to write poetry a lot of the times, or write, period, watch stuff, consume content, create content, study. And you know how I believe it was a month and a half ago, I mentioned that I broke my laptop screen by closing my screen on my keyboard, where in between, wow, this is such a terrible explanation, my English is really not working in the sentence, but I closed basically, well, not this, but like the ending. Wait, let's see if I can unplug it, because like my laptop is now charging, which is why you can also see this, but like it seems to be charged enough so I can unplug it. But I closed this board. For the audio listeners, like the thing that you plug into your laptop to charge it. And I closed it in between the keyboard and the screen, and it cracked my screen. And I had to go and have the screen replaced, which cost me almost 200 euros, which is why I started hysterically sobbing on the phone with my mom, because I was like, that's so expensive. I don't want to pay that much money. But also, my laptop was expensive. Um, so I didn't want to not invest in upkeeping my laptop. And also, I was going to be in the Netherlands. And thankfully, that was right after I finished my thesis. So imagine having that happen as I'm writing my thesis. It would genuinely send me into a psychosis. But yeah, so that happened, which means that recently I have invested into the well-being of my laptop. And last week, well, for the past month, my laptop has been begging me to update it. And a lot of the times I'm like, "Ugh, I really don't want to update it right now because I turned it on for with a purpose. I want to just watch like the King of Queens, or watch Mia Maples, or listen to some music, or edit a podcast, or record a podcast. I don't have the time to update it right now, which is why I kept on being like, remind me later, remind me later, remind me later. And last week on Thursday, before I went to work, I was like, you know what? I am going to update my laptop. My laptop deserves to be updated. It's been like, I don't know if the lagging could be due to the updates, although now it's updated and it's still lagging. And I promise I'm going somewhere with the story, but it's also been overheating, and I have to literally, I the second I open OBS Studio, which is where I record, or the second I open DaVinci Resolve, which is where I edit, so the second I open one of those heavy programs, it starts burning up Jonas Brothers style. And Joe Jonas with a cowboy hat, smash. Who said that? I said that. Okay, I said that proudly, proudly. um and like it starts burning up. I'm hot, you're cold, or you're not. I don't know. You go around like you know. I love pop music. I love pop music so much, and it's such a good year for pop music. And like Role Models album is so good. It's so good. Um, I've been telling you to get on the role model train for years now. Is it finally high time you listened to me? I think so. Um, but yeah, and it overheats, and I literally have to put it in the refrigerator. Same goes with my phone, because so I have an iPhone, and I don't know what Apple does, but the second you're playing music and like texting someone or like taking a picture or whatever, it overheats like crazy. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had to put it in the refrigerator. I'm sorry, Apple, that I wanted to use my phone while charging. I didn't mean it to like become the temperature of the sun. And uh I decided to that maybe the overheating could be due to the updates, or the lagging could be due to the updates. And it's also been begging me for over a month. So I was like, I'm just going to put it to update, because I know it's going to take quite a bit. And when I come back from work, I'm just going to record a podcast. And I come back from work, and my laptop is not turning on. Like, fully not turning on. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just like the battery died because it was updating, and then there was no one who could turn it off, even though I said update and shut down. And I don't know, maybe the battery's dead. So I charge it, doesn't work. So I'm like, oh, maybe because I just plugged it in, I'll give it 30 minutes. I give it 30 minutes. It just does not turn on. Like, I'm pressing the power buttons, the fans are not even working. And initially I was like, oh my God, is it because of this screen that I put on the laptop? Because they told me it's an original Lenovo screen. So why is it not working? And like, I changed the screen in the Netherlands. So my warranty is valid in the Netherlands, and they would, if necessary, do reparations for free. But I am not in the Netherlands, and getting to the Netherlands would cost me more than changing that screen again. And I was so pissed, and I was like, what is going on? So I did the power drain thing, where you press the power button and hold it for between 10 to 60 seconds, which I did 10, I did 30, I did 60, I did 3 minutes. Nothing worked. And the thing is, I don't know how it is with other laptops because I've not had exposure to them, but the Lenovo power button has a little light next to it. And that light was blinking. So I was like, okay, so it's not fully dead. And I try to get the, mind you, um all of this is happening over the span of a few hours, and I'm trying also to unscrew the back, the like the bottom panel of my laptop, so that I can get out the battery and remove it and like let it like chill for a second and then put it back in. But my laptop doesn't have an external battery, and like it's under the bottom panel, and that panel doesn't have like a thing where you can put and open. Like, you need a special thing or you put whatever. And I was like, what is going on? Because like, I just really cannot afford a new laptop right now. So I went to bed. Obviously, I couldn't sleep easily and peacefully, and I would wake up every 30 minutes to an hour to just try and get it to work again, and it was simply unsuccessful. Which is why in the morning, when I officially gave up on sleep, I just went to this one place and gave my laptop for reparation and like to see what the problem is. And the thing is, I went to work and I was like, Jesus Christ, they're probably going to change the motherboard without even asking me first. And it's going to cost like an arm and a leg. And like, if I need to change the motherboard, I at least, like, at this rate, might as well get a new laptop. And I just changed the screen. And I was so anticipatory anxious. I did like, they were like, we'll call you. But it felt like I was having like I had a crush waiting for him to text me my entire day. Because I would like at work I kept my phone with me at all times, and literally I turned off do not disturb. I turned on the like exited the silent mode. I was like, I need to like I was like checking my service, everything, and I was like, what is going on? Why are they not calling me? And I was so nervous, and I was talking with my mom throughout the day, and I was like, oh my god, what are they going to do? Like, this is going to cost me so much. And I would go have like toilet breaks, but I would just check new laptops, and I was freaking out. And the thing is, normally I'm not a like I'm an anxious person, but not to that extent. And I tend to be quite extroverted, but apparently not in Bulgaria. Because in Bulgaria, I feel like I revert back to the person I was before I left, which is when my mom was making my appointments. And like when I come here, I am so terrified to call my dentist and make an appointment. Whereas when I'm in the Netherlands, because I really don't care, and also I don't have the option to be like, hi, mom, can you call my dentist and make an appointment for me, please? I literally call customer service representatives all the time without a single care in the world, because that's what they're there for. And I just really hated feeling that anxiety of because they were not calling me to tell me what's going on with my laptop, and it was already 5 o'clock and it was Friday. So I was like, if this doesn't happen today, that means I'm not going to have my laptop over the weekend, which means I cannot record the podcast. Because, and that's the thing though, it didn't hit me that I can literally solely record an audio podcast. But I feel like ever since Dirty Martini started being a video podcast, I just excluded the possibility of a solely audio podcast. And it's like I was so anxious throughout the day because of the podcast. And I was like, well, in the sense, I'm happy I didn't record, because if I recorded and now the laptop is not to be used anymore, I'll have like an episode lost. And I was so freaking out about my poetry and every single essay I've written, and the pictures I have on here. And it made me realize how well, realized it before, but it reminded me of how reliant we've become on technology for our art, our content, our socialization, our livelihood. And that really scared me, because I've mentioned this concept like idea before on the podcast of, if it doesn't have a physical form, does it actually exist? Because let's say I they would not be able to restore um, my laptop's ability to work, and I lost all my poetry that I've written on there ever since I got this laptop. This Does that mean that my poetry, like I like, it genuinely made me feel like I wanted to throw up. I was so anxious, and I was anxious because of that. And I was anxious because they were not calling me. So that meant I had to call them. And my mom was like, just call them. It's okay. Like, he wouldn't have given you his phone number to call if he was not okay with you calling, which are such rational and okay thoughts and so normal thoughts and such obvious thoughts and ideas. But when you're anxious, you don't really care about rationality. And I was like, okay, I'll call him, but like, because he's like, he knows my parents, and I was like, I'll call him, but like, I'll have it on like speaker, and like, I want you to stay here and like be here for moral support as I have this conversation of, hey, could you give me more information? Like, I am entitled to have more information about my own device, you know? Um, so I literally called on speaker and I was like, you're 24 years old. That's pathetic. That's embarrassing. Which is like, it pissed me off so much because I'm so not used to being introverted and extroverted, because most of the year, well, introverted and anxious, because most of the year I'm in the Netherlands, and I'm, whether I like to or not, I have to be extroverted and I have to seek help. And like, seeking help is a concept I'm not necessarily comfortable with. And I have to do that, and I don't care, because also in the Netherlands, I don't care how I'm perceived, because it's such an individualistic community. People don't know me, people are not going to remember me. For them, I'm just like a regular, like another one, and no one cares, and no one's going to remember me, and I'm not going to remember them, because like, we all live in our separate bubbles. But here in my small town, we are like a communal culture, communal society, and everybody knows everybody, and I care about the way I'm perceived, which pains me so deeply, because that's not a concept I am still practicing most of the time, and now it just feels so foreign and not enjoyable. And yeah, and I called him and he was like, oh my god, yeah, of course, like, I literally was dialing your number, just come pick your laptop. We've not had to change any parts. We've not had to change the motherboard. It was just like a simple issue that we fixed. And I was like, Jesus Christ, thank you so much. Because that thing, so basically, they just had to change the, like, like, fix the BIOS system. Is that how you say it? I don't know. And they had to clean it, which was what was causing the overheating. And here's like a few things that I learned from this experience. First and foremost, do not put your laptop on your mattress, on blankets. Solely put your laptop on a flat surface, because your laptop has fans and outlets that let air in and out, and this is its way of cooling down. And well, I don't know if you've paid attention, your laptop, when you put it on the, like, a desk or on the ground, it's not completely stuck to the ground. There's like a few millimeters of space between that surface and your device. And you putting it on a blanket or on a, like, on your mattress, which is like the only way I use my laptop, actually makes, like, it's not good for the device, because the blanket, let's use a blanket for an example, it's movable, it's soft, it's flexible and bendable, so it just goes up those vents and like shuts them out, and air cannot get in or out, and this is what causes the overheating. Second thing I learned is you should get your laptop cleaned at least once a year. And if you can do that yourself, beautifully do that. This is what causes a lot of the overheating. I cannot do that by myself because, like I mentioned earlier, my bottom panel is not one that's removable. Like, you cannot just crack it open or like unbutton it. Like, you need those specific, like, accessories that get it open. Um, Third of all, my anxiety had caused me to believe, had led me to believe that these reparations were going to cost 500 euros. And I was like, a minimum. And I was like, I don't have 500 euros to spare right now. I don't have them like I don't have them to spend right now. And I was so like I was anxious in anticipation. And it's worth remembering in moments like these, like, and I know like anxiety is everything but rational. But if you can remind yourself something, it's that whether you're anxious or not, that thing is outside of your control. You cannot control what the broken thing on your laptop is. You cannot control how much it's going to cost. And you cannot control when it's going to get fixed and how that's going to affect you. And especially, I felt annoyed because, like, it stopped working after it begged me to update it. And it's not something I myself did to cause it to stop working. If that were the case, like it was with the screen, sure, I would cry, but I would be like, that's a justified expenditure because I did this. But now my laptop begging me to update it and to then stop working was not my fault. And if I could sue Lenovo over this and have them pay for the reparations that were potentially to cost more, I would so do that and I would make it everyone's problem. So, future anxiety is just borrowing from present peace. And it's not doing you any good. And it's not going to change the situation whatsoever. So, in moments like these, if you can distract yourself in one way or another and ground yourself and be able to identify that this anxiety is not who you are and it's irrational, that would be ideal. It's so much easier said than done. Um, but this anticipatory anxiety is just outrageous because there's nothing you can do. It's outside of your hands, yet it plagues you. And it feels like there's no cure. So, and another thing that I was reminded of was if someone gives you their phone number to call, they're okay with you calling, and customer service representatives are okay with you calling them because you have a question, because of you have a problem that you need help with. That's what they are there for, and they are well aware of the role that they're occupying and what it entails. But and another thing that I learned was always have a backup on a USB of the information that you have on your devices, back it up on a cloud, or like also have physical copies. Because now, if God forbid, let's say they were not able to fix my laptop and they could not retrieve the information because they were like, most of the times we can retrieve the information unless the disk itself is damaged. If I don't have copies of that poetry, it wouldn't be anyone's fault but mine if that poetry was lost. And I just was reminded that I shouldn't be dependent on technology to express myself, create my art, create my content, even though a podcast obviously is solely something that you do online and you need devices, that's inevitable. But you have to be aware of the risks and you have to be prepared for situations like these because there was nothing that I did that caused this thing to stop, and it's not my fault, but I would be the victim in that situation. I would be the one to suffer the consequences. And whether it's just or not, it would not recover my art. It would not recover my poetry. It would not recover my thesis. It would not recover my essays. It would not recover my master's degree. So, those are basically the things I learned. And Anticipatory anxiety sucks. There's nothing you can do. Have copies and use your laptop on hard services. Take care of your devices, and if something happens, something happens. Like sometimes things are outside of your control and you have cannot do anything, and those devices are unfortunately wow expensive, not built to last for eternity. Like nothing's actually built to last for eternity. And that's on that. I gotta go and watch Shrek right now. So I want to thank you so much for watching this episode, listening to this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye.